Hi Reddit, this is my first time posting here, and honestly, what I'm about to share feels like it's straight out of a movie. I'm a 38-year-old guy who, until recently, thought I had the perfect life. Successful career, beautiful wife, financial freedom. Turns out, my perfect life was a carefully constructed illusion. And my wife? She was playing the most dangerous game of her life. Unfortunately for her, she had no idea who she was playing with. For the sake of privacy, I won't use my real name. Let's call me Adam. So, a bit about me. I grew up broke, like ramen noodles for dinner and hand-me-down shoes broke. But I worked my ass off. Started in investment banking, put in 90-hour weeks, then pivoted into tech startups in my late 20s. I hit gold with my third company, sold it for 8 figures, and now I own a small portfolio of businesses that basically run themselves. Life's been good. I live in a stunning house on the water. Drive a couple of cars I used to dream about as a kid. Financial freedom? Yeah, I checked that box a while ago. And then there was Rachel, also not her real name. She's 34. Gorgeous. The kind of woman who turns heads when she walks into a room. We met 10 years ago at a charity gala. She had this magnetic energy, witty, charming, sharp as a tack. Within 18 months, we were married. For most of our marriage, I genuinely thought she was my partner in every sense. But about a year ago, things started to feel different. It started small. Rachel began going on girls' weekends more often. At first, I didn't think much of it. But then her phone became her most prized possession. She guarded it, like it held nuclear launch codes. Notifications would come through at 2 a.m., and she'd flip her phone over at dinner. There was this one night, though, that I'll never forget. We were watching a movie together, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw her smiling at her phone. A smile she hadn't given me in months. And that's when I knew something was off. But if there's one thing you should know about me, Reddit, it's this. I don't confront until I'm absolutely sure. I hired a private investigator. Cost me $15,000. But let me tell you, it was the best money I've ever spent. Within 3 weeks, he had everything. Photos, videos, timestamps. Rachel wasn't even being subtle about it. She met him, some guy named Jason, outside a luxury hotel. There were pictures of them kissing, holding hands, even checking into a suite together. Jason, oh boy, a 29-year-old wannabe entrepreneur with a failed crypto startup and a leased BMW. Classic cliché. But here's where it gets even worse. The investigator found that Rachel had been quietly siphoning money from one of our joint accounts. Guess where it was going? That's right. To Jason's business account, she wasn't just cheating. She was financing her boy Toy. I could have confronted her right then, screamed, thrown her stuff out. But no, that would have been too easy for her. I wanted this to hurt. So, I met with my lawyer and financial advisors. You see, Rachel didn't realize that most of our assets weren't in her name. The house? Owned by a trust under my company. The cars? Leased under corporate accounts. Her credit cards? Tied to my personal accounts. Quietly, I started moving pieces. Sold off assets, rewrote trusts, rerouted funds, all legal, all airtight. I did this over the course of a month and left the account that she was siphoning money from open to her. I didn't worry about the money. I was earning way more money anyway. So, by the time I was finally done, she wouldn't be able to buy a Starbucks latte without my approval. And then, I played the part of the perfect husband. Flowers. Romantic dinners. Weekend getaways. All while knowing she was sneaking off to meet Jason. My private investigator even installed hidden cameras in our home office. One night, I watched a recording of Rachel telling Jason how she planned to take me for everything in a divorce. You should have seen Jason's face. Oh, Rachel, if only you knew. Her birthday was coming up. I told Rachel I had a business trip overseas and wouldn't be home for a week. She faked being sad. It was the most put-on sadness I've ever seen from someone. I wasn't really going overseas. I just booked a hotel in the city and worked on my businesses while letting more evidence build up. A day later, she told me she is going away with her girls to celebrate her birthday at a nice resort, which was about a 4-hour drive from us. The part about going to the resort was true. I saw it on the bank statements. As for hanging out with her girls, that part wasn't so true. The best part about this was, the owner of the resort was actually a good friend of mine. It was like life was working in my favor. I quickly contacted him and told him about the situation. By the morning of her birthday, everything that she had access to was in my name and had already been swapped. I had complete and total control over everything, except for the account she siphoned money from. She was going to use this for the resort. The morning of her birthday, I waited. I was watching the home security cameras from my hotel room downtown. Sure enough, Jason was there. He even took my whiskey bottle. They then left for the resort a short time later. Along the way, she had purchased some items at a couple of gas stations, so I knew where they were at all times. And the best part of this was, my private investigator was there waiting for them, taking every photo possible. I pulled out my phone and locked her out of our joint bank account. Credit cards, frozen, debit cards, declined. An hour later, my phone rang. She left a voice message saying, "Adam, the hotel says my card's been declined. What's going on? My girls and I can't even order food." I messaged back saying, "Oh, I know. Tell Jason I hope he enjoyed the whiskey. It's the last thing he's drinking on my dime." I hung up. A second later, I sent her a text. "Check your email." Waiting for her was a neatly organized folder with screenshots of her messages with Jason, photos from the investigator, a detailed summary of all our assets, now completely out of her reach. Then came the best part. The owner, my good friend, revoked her access to the resort and authorized security to escort them off the property. I sent an email blast to her parents, her siblings, her closest friends, even her boss. Attached was a video montage of her and Jason, screenshots of her plans to drain me dry in a divorce. And a short note. Just thought you should know the kind of person Rachel is before you continue associating with her. By the time I was done, Rachel's phone was blowing up. Calls, texts, pure chaos. The next morning I filed for divorce. Thanks to the prenup, which Rachel never bothered to read, she gets nothing. Not the house, not the cars, not a dime. Oh, and the prenup had an infidelity clause, so now she owes me a settlement. Rachel tried to beg. She cried, screamed, threatened to go public. I reminded her, "Sweetheart, the evidence is already public, and no one's on your side." Jason? He disappeared the second the money stopped flowing, blocked her number, deleted her from social media. As for Rachel, she's now living in a dingy one-bedroom apartment downtown, working 2 jobs to pay off her legal fees. It's been 6 months since then. I've been traveling the world. I recently met someone in Italy. She's kind, funny, and has no idea I'm rich. And honestly, that's exactly how I want it for now.